there is a certain point in time that we all make mistakes, and those mistakes could really change us to a point where we need to think and sit back and be like, okay, cool. What is the one thing that I could do that could change, the way how I think, or it could be the way how I see things, the way how I do things. And if people, come to a point in time where they're like, okay, cool, I need to get straight with this, and because other things that I need to get done, perhapsly it won't create that same mistake that I done or that they done last time. It's never the end of the world. And I think that's one thing that I thought of when I was probably younger. I thought it was the end of the world of a couple things, but as I got older, I was like, what? None of this doesn't make sense. None of this doesn't make sense. Like, why did I ever think about stuff like that? Or why do people think of that? And it's kind of like, social media, it's the same thing. It's like the end of the world. This and that, the red pill and the blue pill. It's all a little thing that's just like a mockery or just a setup for everything. No, these things are telling us something. I'm not gonna come out and say it, but there are other people that are going to say it. I'm not going to go in depth with it either. It's just, how people think of other things that people do in their lifetime, and it's the same thing. Like, if we post something that we shouldn't post, then that was a mistake. Rather, as you're a celebrity and you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have posted that. Maybe this could be going against these kind of people or these kind of people over here, perhaps. And if I interfere with these people, then that was the biggest cause of my mistake that I've done. So what can I do that avoids that position again? Perhaps there's one thing that I could do, and maybe some of your folks might hate you for it, and it could be, doing something that has to do with changing the community, perhaps, or maybe changing the way how you post on social media, or maybe the things that you say to people you can actually change. It's never the end of the world or something if you make a mistake. And we all come to this point where, do we really think we should be doing this? And we all don't know, because we all laugh about it and we joke about things that could also lead to a mistake, could also lead to people losing their life, of course, could also lead to people like not believing in themselves anymore, can also come to a point where people just, I just don't feel like doing it. It's always something that people complain about, and I don't like complaining. I like to get stuff done rather than complaining about it. I'd rather do it just to see what it's like. And I think that was one of my mistakes that I've done back in the day too, was complaining, but I knew I wouldn't complain about something as much. Like, honestly, if I complained about losing, then I'm basically a bitch for that shit, to be honest with you. I'm basically a bitch. If there was like basketball, let's say basketball perhaps, I think my greatest mistake in basketball was not following directions of what the coach was saying, and I probably didn't know what position I was playing at most. Whether I was point guard, whether I was shooting guard. I've always had problems with, I think when I was younger, I've always had problems on the basketball team to even talk to these people, even talk to my own teammates, because I've been so in depth of just being in silence. And it's like, okay, that was one mistake that I definitely should have never ever actually done, because I could have made friends. I could have did this, I could have did that, but at the same time I stayed silent, and that was one of my mistakes I will never forget. My other mistake was, thinking a certain way that might lead to this, that might make you disappear, or like probably forever, perhaps. Maybe somebody may never see you again. How would that make them feel? And people always make mistakes as if they should be doing something that they needed to, or that it was funny. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it kind of leads to a point to I want to say it leads to a point where something just doesn't add up. Like what is your, it's kind of like asking people, what is your greatest fear? Like, is that something that you want to change, or is that something that you intentionally need to get over with? And that's like, it's not the end of the world. It's not failure. It's just our thinking strategies come to a point where we need to realize, like, okay, cool, we need to release some of this out, but we need to also, like how I said before, we need to embrace failure and just go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter how many times we make these mistakes. We are all not perfect at the end of the day. And I think that's the problem with some people now. And I don't even care. I'm gonna come out and say it. You're not perfect. I never thought of myself as perfect. There are people that have called me perfect, and I hated that word for life. Perfect doesn't even come to mindset to me. The greatest, the GOAT, doesn't even come to my mindset. I could say that about somebody else, but for me, no. Not for me. Never. It's never. Not even a chance. Not a chance in hell. Not for me. People are like, damn, bro, you got a perfect body. You got a perfect mindset. Like, there are teenagers, there are young adults just like you that need your mindset. Well, I think another mistake that people must have missed out on was, maybe partying too much, maybe drinking too much. Maybe you could have been grabbing some money, could have been grabbing this, grabbing that. You never know what your mistakes are until it leads up to you afterwards, later on in your life. Like, I should never done that. I should never had sex with that girl. Should never had sex with this guy. Made me think about a certain way about other guys, you know what I'm saying? Made me think about a certain way about other females, you know what I'm saying? That's all of our mistakes, and it's kind of like we tend to judge ourselves more than we judge other people, and that's the sad reality part and the harsh reality part, as in, no one's not gonna care. If they treat you a certain way, then you definitely got what you deserve. Not all the time. They may do that just to try to get to you, to see what you come out as like. And like I said, we all make mistakes. We all are not perfect. We all are not the greatest. We all are not the greatest. But the things that you do, you can always change something. You can always be a better person. I've always wanted to be a better person. I've always wanted to, not just motivate others, but that was my job. My job, to me, I created one job. That job was to motivate people into their thinking strategies so that they could be on point with things in their life. My job also was to make sure that, it's not motivation, but they also have the discipline and the courage to do something. Because if I'm still here, I want you to succeed. I'm not going to be jealous of you. I will never be jealous of someone that is succeeding more than me. If my boy is succeeding more than me, I'm not going to care. I'm still doing me at the end of the day. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of everybody that, I don't care who is better than me. I don't care who's in front of me. I know for a fact I'm going straight. And when I go straight, I don't want nobody. I don't want these walls to be cornering my position of going to this path. Because if it does, then I have to get rid of something over here or to the right side that leads me to this. And if I don't get to that, well, that was one mistake that I need to fix. And if I didn't, perhaps it would keep leading to mistakes. It's like lying. Mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. You don't know at a certain point where it's just like, okay, just stop right there. Maybe this wasn't your greatest mistake. Maybe it's just a lesson that you need to learn.